To say that I've been addicted to Ninja Gaiden Ragebound would be kind of an understatement, man. I've been playing this game for about 17 hours in just a few days that I've owned it. I'm already on the hard mode playthrough. I've already beaten the game and gotten pretty much every collectible. But before we get into all of that, shout outs and thank you to the developers, the Game Kitchen and publishers.emu for the code. Now let's get into Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. To address the obvious, like, is Ninja Gaiden Ragebound a good game? Absolutely. This game is so much fun. It has just a certain kind of flow to it once you really get a hold of just the way it moves and the mechanics. And once you get into that flow, man, it becomes so addictive. Now, the story, not anything too crazy. It's probably the weakest part of the game, if I'm being honest. But the story follows Kenji, who is in kind of like an underling of Ryu Hayabusa, and he has to handle this outbreak of demons while Ryu has to go off and handle his own business that he's got going on. And Kenji ends up forming an alliance with Komori of the Black Spider Clan. And like I said earlier, the story isn't anything to write home about. Its dialogue is very elementary, it's very basic, nothing crazy at all. The story's just kind of there. But I do love the prologue, though. If you're an OG Ninja Gaiden fan, I think you will greatly appreciate the prologue. I'm not even going to show it on the screen. I think you should just experience it. I do really like what they did with the prologue. It was a really cool callback. But the gameplay is where this game really shines. And I'm playing the Steam version. This is available on pretty much all current platforms. But on Steam, this game plays like butter. It is fast, it is smooth, it is precise. I haven't had any stutters, any crashes, nothing crazy like that going on. And like I said, this game just has a flow to it, man. And it doesn't do anything groundbreaking, but for what it does, it executes very well. For basics, Kenji can slice, roll, jump, climb on and across walls. He can deflect projectiles, and he can use what's called a guillotine boost. It's one of the new mechanics in the game. Guillotine boost basically lets you jump off of people's heads, or you can use it to jump off of objects. And you can use it to deal small damage, but it's also helpful for traversing and platforming, which you'll be doing a lot of in this game. And I love the platforming. It gets pretty creative. They throw a lot of different hazards at you. They try to overwhelm you. And the platforming, I think, ties well into just the overall stage design, which I think is really good. The stage design has good variety. So many different kinds of environments, from caves to construction sites to mountains and all different kinds of craziness. And then when it comes to the enemies, pretty good assortment and variety of enemies that you're going to have to deal with. Especially the more you play the game, they're going to just slowly start rolling out more enemies. And you got some small annoying dudes. You got people that's flying around throwing stuff at you. Some of the big bulkier enemies that you'll have to deal with who are a little tough to take care of, but they give you tools to take care of them, which I'll get into. But yeah, I think this game it does a good job of mixing things up, keeping it fresh and keeping you on your toes, man. It's always gonna be something happening. There's no dull moments in this game. There's always something going on. Now, in terms of enemies, Kenji can kill pretty much everybody with one hit. But there are a few enemies, some of the bulkier ones. Got some swole people running around here, and he got some people with shields, and they're a little tougher to deal with. But if you use the hypercharge attack, you can take them out in one shot. The hypercharge attack will one shot anybody that is not a boss, and there are certain enemies that you'll want to use the hypercharge on, because regularly it would just take more than one swing, and they'll just kind of be in the way, just taking up space, and you want to just kind of slice them up and keep it moving. But to activate the hypercharge, you can either choose to deplete some of your own health bar to activate the hypercharge, or if you see one of these little dudes running around, has a little aura around him, you'll see either the blue aura or the pink aura. If you see the blue aura, slice and dice him with the sword. That'll activate the hypercharge. If you see the pink aura, you gotta hit him with the kunai, and that will activate the hypercharge. And the kunai is where the other character, Komori, comes in. So after certain events in the game, Komori and Kenji come together. They got to work together to take down a common foe, and they kind of have this fusion thing going on where Kenji can pretty much summon Komori to use her abilities. And I do love how they work them together in tandem. She's more of the long range, he's more of the up close and personal. Now you can't spam her moves. You'll notice the health bar, or sorry, the pink bar underneath the health bar that goes down when you start to use her abilities. But if you want to refill it, just get to slicing and dicing folks up, and the bar will go back up, so you get rewarded for your violence. But I think they work very well in tandem together, and I like just the different kinds of moves that you can get for Komori. And she kind of works as like side attacks, but they give her so many different kinds of side attacks that you can unlock. And early in the game, you're gonna unlock a shop that you can go to buy these upgrades. And if you want to get these upgrades, you got to explore throughout the stage. There are going to be collectibles to find. If you want to unlock the upgrades, you want to get the scarabs, but there are also going to be scrolls that you can find. The scrolls unlock secret stages, which are kind of like these little side missions that you can do. And I like that they added those. It just adds more to the game and just gives you more to do. And they also have skulls that you can collect as well. But the scarabs are really important, as I said earlier, for the upgrades. And for Kenji, he can purchase talismans, and the talismans, he has 2 slots to equip those in, and the talismans can do anything from a passive upgrade or something like, it'll give you full health when you reach a checkpoint, or it can be a debuff to actually make the game harder. And I know you'd want to ask, like, why would you want to make the game harder? For one, some people just want that old school Ninja Gaiden soul-crushing experience. But the debuffs also will raise your rank, because this game is heavily based, if you're that kind of person, of chasing high rankings. That's where the challenge lies in this game. Not so much a soul-crushing difficulty, though there is some of that in here, and I'm going to get to that a little later. But one of the biggest challenges in this game is if you're trying to get that S rank or the S++ rank, you're going to have to work for that bad boy. And you're probably going to have to equip a debuff that's going to make the stage harder for you to get that. But also on Komori's end, you can purchase spider attacks, is what her moves are called. And I love the different kinds of spider attacks that she gets, as well as the Ragebound art that you guys share together. The Ragebound art is basically a special move. It's going to clear the whole stage, do a whole bunch of damage. And between the spider attacks and the Ragebound arts, there's just so many different kinds of moves to do. And I really like that, in a game, in a genre that's typically pretty simple. Most action platformers aren't doing too much in terms of mechanics. I do like that added diversity. It adds just a little more depth to the combat, and just the different variety that they have. It's just really fun to experiment. Even after playing this for 17 hours, there's still moves I haven't used yet, so I tend to find my favorites and just stick with them. But there are a lot of different moves in terms of Ragebound arts and spider attacks that you can use. So I would definitely encourage you to experiment and figure out which ones you really like. But yeah, man, just the overall variety, man, in terms of the special moves. Like I said, the way this game just flows once you really get into it. The platforming I really, really enjoy, and that also lends into how good the stage design is, because there's just different kinds of platforming and different ways you'll be maneuvering. They're going to throw different kind of hazards at you. They're going to try to overwhelm you. There's always a lot going on, and it makes the platforming really fun. And I love there are certain sections through the stages where you're going to have to use Komori to access an area that maybe Kenji can't get to, and she'll need to help him progress, or she'll have an area that she can do that pretty much leads to like a collectible, either a scroll or a scarab or something like that. And she has some of the most challenging, crazy platforming parts of this game. If you like challenging platforming, Komori's gonna have something for you, boy. Some of her sections are brutal, but if you like that challenge, it's definitely there. But yeah, man, this game is fantastic, man. For as far as a 2D action platformer, it doesn't get much better than this, and I really don't have that many complaints. Like I said, the story's pretty weak, but everything else in this game hits for me, man. The gameplay, the soundtrack, which I didn't even mention, great retro soundtrack that I feel like is really going to take you back. The boss fights I thought were done really well. It might have been like one boss fight that I didn't really care for too much, but the boss fights are challenging, and they make you use all of the mechanics in the game. So if you don't know what you're doing, some of these bosses they're gonna kick you in the mouth if you don't know what you're doing. But I'd say the main thing this game comes down to is personal preference. This is not a carbon copy of the old OG Ninja Gaiden. If you're expecting that, this is not that. This is very much its own game. It has its own feel. It borrows influences from the OG Ninja Gaiden, but it is not trying to copy them, frame for frame. It's very much its own thing and has its own feeling, and that soul crushing difficulty that we've kind of just come to love in a sick way about Ninja Gaiden. I don't think this game is as hard as the OG. I think it does ramp up the more you play. The second half of this game does get pretty challenging, so I don't want to give the impression that it's like a cakewalk, because it's definitely not. But it's not as soul crushing. But they give you ways to make it harder. Like I said, if you want to equip some of these debuff talismans, you can make the game pretty tough. And once you beat the base game, you get the hard mode. And as somebody who, I haven't finished the hard mode, but I'm a few stages in, it's pretty tough. They start adding, not only do they add more enemies in terms of volume, but they add like just different variations of the enemies. They remix some of them, have them moving faster and just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And they put more hazards in the stage. So the hard mode so far is as advertised. It's closer to that kind of soul crushing, Ninja Gaiden that, we've come to love. But I think on a base level, this game it has its own different kind of challenge in terms of chasing high scores or high rankings. And if you're somebody who likes to speed run, I think you'll love this game. But yeah, it's very much its own thing. So if you're a Ninja Gaiden purist, I guess if that's even a thing, this is a different experience. But I think it's fantastic. I think this is well done. And I have very, very few negative things to say about this game, other than what I've just mentioned. But I have been loving this, and I will continue to play it until I complete this hard mode. And yeah, no, this game is great. I'm having a great time. And I want to know what y'all think, man. If you've been playing Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, please let me know how you feel in the comments. That is all I got for today's video. My name is Serial Sensei. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay hydrated. And I'll catch you on the next one.